No, the reason why the ADL doesn't go after Donald Trump is because the ADL is a pro-Israel institution. That's it. That's it. And Donald Trump is the biggest dick rider of Israel. What the? No, the reason why he's going after Zohran Mamdani is because Zohran Mamdani ran and won on a campaign in New York City without compromising on anti-Zionism and straight up saying that he was an anti-Zionist. This is who ran Cuomo's campaign. Is she responsible for the Hasan obsession? Yes. This is Bella Cuomo. I believe this is Andrew Cuomo's niece, right?
Andrew Cuomo's niece?
Yes.
Wow, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, we ran a great campaign, and no matter how it goes, we're winners.
Right. And so you're hoping for the...
See, now, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not. That's it. I'm just saying I'm not saying nothing. That's a Nepo baby right there, though.
best?
Obviously, I'm hoping for the best, but I feel good about what we did and the message that we put out. And you know, if you feel good about what you did, then you feel good about what you did.
How is candidate Andrew as an uncle?
He's a great uncle. I mean, we've definitely gotten closer. I actually had a really great time working for him. And yeah, it was stressful, but it was also fun, and we had a good work culture.
Bro, that's bad. She's bad, okay? Yes, it's the elephant in the room. Yes, we got it. There's no reason to be creepy, okay? Stop being weird. Because aside from that aspect, did we pick the wrong team? Okay, Marge, you are not helping. You are not helping, okay? Because sure, she's bad. Except, you know what else? She's a bad campaign manager, okay? Like a really bad campaign manager, not even a baddie. I mean, a bad campaign manager, okay? Straight up. It's crazy the way she's talking about it, like, oh yeah, we had such a good time. We had such a good time running the campaign. So no, I'm not going to lean into misogyny. And I'm going to say it like it is, okay? Her attractive looks have nothing to do with this. She was a horrible campaign manager if she actually did run the campaign. And why in the ever-loving was just the campaign for the last like month was just like, hey, we've run out of options. Let's just keep saying Zohran Mamdani is a Mohammedan surrounded by who love to do 9/11 and want to do 9/11 11 more times. That was a horrible campaign. It was just bad in general. It was like, it was bad vibes. It was bad for discourse. It made things way more toxic. This is the reaction of someone who lives a comfortable life and the results of the election are inconsequential to her comfortable Nepo baby lifestyle. If Zohran lost, a lot of New Yorkers couldn't react like, oh, well, it was fun.
Really liked everyone on the team, and that's all you can ask.
Let's say he doesn't win, what do you think he'll do?
You know, he does like consulting and stuff. He does fine, but this is what he loves, and this is what he was meant to do, so you got to try to do what
Oh my God, what are we doing? So you're saying she definitely knows who you are? I mean, I don't know if she was the one directing the Hasan did 9/11 attacks, but
you love to do, you know?
All right, good luck.
But like this energy right here kind of shows like exactly the vibes of the campaign. It's just like, yeah, we gave it our all. And then you look at their work and it's just AI slop being like, black people love stealing from CVS. That was you giving your all? You should have done half measures then, you know? Like, what the? But it's all this like, who cares? If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. What matters is we had fun. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have like people white knuckling through this goddamn process, fighting, knocking on doors every dang day of the week, canvassing every single day. Correction, Idris Elba loves stealing from CVS. Yes, that's true. I am Jewish, says Duty Boy. Cool. Mazel tov, chatter. Like, they just, I think I understand why Mike keeps saying Cuomo ran a good campaign now. Wait, Mike kept saying Cuomo ran a good campaign? He ran a dog shit ass campaign. There's no way. Which Mike? Michael from Pennsylvania? There is no shot Michael from Pennsylvania said he ran a good campaign. No, he said the machine campaign was good in terms of turnout. It was still high as fuck for Cuomo. Yeah, dude, when you got, dude, I think a lot of people fail to comprehend that the average voter hears the name Cuomo and doesn't think about it beyond that. Okay? And then also, they pumped so much. They paid so many canvassers to constantly send out flyers. Like, eventually, you're going to reach a lot of people that way. Mike did say he ran a good campaign. He had numbers good enough to win in any other year. He said Cuomo was a strong candidate, not the campaign. Bro, can we grade on a curve with finance? Yeah, it is true that there's something very shitty about the reality that we spoke about with Summerlee earlier, which is that at the end of the day, money speaks, okay? Because if you look at politics, if you look at the race in general on the basis of policy and who is going to do better for New Yorkers, Andrew Cuomo was dog shit. Like, he barely spoke on what he would even do for New York and just focused on the negative the entire time. The issue is money speaks. And he was still capable of earning endorsements, key endorsements from the Republicans in state politics and city politics to drive turnout alongside the unimaginable amount of ads. In a normal universe, Andrew Cuomo should get like 10 votes. Andrew Cuomo should have gotten less votes than Curtis Sliwa. Curtis Sliwa ran a better, had better messaging overall than Andrew Cuomo did. Curtis Sliwa seemed like he wanted to be in New York and wasn't just running because he was like, ugh, this is beneath me, but I should just be given this position, but I guess I'll run. That was the attitude from the Cuomo campaign. But it's very obvious that if you have unlimited funds, you can just pump it. And people are very malleable. But remember, it's still winnable. Okay? It's still winnable. And Zoran proved it. Yeah, Zoran was outspent 7-1. Cuomo had both party establishment behind him. I mean, some in the Democrats. But definitely the Republican establishment was behind him. Yes.
It happened.
I'll pray for you, Zoran, and I hope no one tries to hurt you. Is a wild way to begin this video. What the fuck?
Mr. Mamdani has won the mayor election. Listen, I'm not one of these people who's going to come on and cry or bash anyone. Democracy lives another day. And I know this might sound crazy, but the first thing I'm going to do is be a Jew. And as a Jew, I'm going to pray for Zoran. I'm going to pray for the safety of his family. And I really hope that no one tries to hurt him. And
what the is going on? Am I reading too much into this? Am I being crazy? In any other context, it would be fine to say that because sure, I agree, but the delivery is, bro, 30 seconds in, he just starts off the video with, hey, I'm praying for Zoran. I sure hope nobody hurts him.
that we just continue to battle his ideas. And the war's not over. It's not game over. It's game on. You know, he'll come in this winter, and we'll have to keep being loud and creative when he tries to do things we don't agree with. That's democracy.
Like, yeah, it's just weird. Just a weird thing to be like, hey, Zoran, be real weird. I mean, would be real sad if something terrible, something horrifying were to happen to you, huh? Be a real shame if something were to happen to you and your family, Zoran. Oh, wait, hold on. We're going to watch. Times are changing. From primary to general, Cuomo more than doubled his vote total. He finished with 900,000 votes, more than anyone since Dinkins. There was a real scenario where last night went awry. Instead, Mamdani expanded the electorate again, adding 500,000 voters of his own. Following up on a historic primary performance is never easy. The expectations were sky high. Nonetheless, Mamdani's on pace to win the most votes in 60 years. Much respect to Maya Honda, Mamdani's campaign manager, who steered the ship for the last 4 months. Also, yeah, I wonder how you fight back against the Mamdani agenda. Like, what are you going to do? Stand in front of buses or something and be like, no, this cannot be free. Please charge me, sir. He's like, we are going to fight back against the Mamdani agenda every step of the way. First and foremost, we are going to go to the rent adjustment board. Okay? We are going to go to the rent adjustment, take it outside, demanding that rents go higher. Okay? No rent freeze, please. I wasn't saying that Cuomo was a good candidate with good messaging, by the way. I was saying that Zoran's win was legendary. The way he drove turnout. No one else has ever done something like that while facing both party establishments in the billionaire class. Cuomo was a formidable opponent to crush like Zoran did. Yeah, they're gonna. No, I agree. They're gonna. I'm still. My mind is still thinking about that guy stopping the Mamdani agenda, blocking the buses to ensure they're slower. Okay, you have to charge. Excuse me, sir. Please, we need to make the buses slow and we need to make them costly. You do not understand. Tiananmen Square in front of the bus. Just the lone former Andrew Cuomo campaign guy. You're describing what Curtis is going to do? Curtis would never do that.
And if he's 34, I can call it like the greatest landslide probably in New York history. I mean, certainly in recent times. And he used that moment to say that he will fight anti-Semitism in New York and stand shoulder to shoulder with his Jewish brothers and sisters.
So again, I'm going to judge him, not on what he says in a speech, but on what he does over time. This morning, and I will tell you, I've gotten so many calls from Jewish New Yorkers who are alarmed. Their kid was harassed in college. Their child was bullied in K through 12. Their synagogues vandalized. So here's what ADL is doing right now. If you are a Jewish New Yorker,
it's like, and Zoran did it all. Okay, I'm fielding calls every day. Okay, this man is basically the Spider-Man of anti-Semitism. Okay, wherever there is a Jew in New York City, Zoran is there bullying the shit out of him. Okay, you need to understand. I don't even know how this guy campaigned because he was spending every waking moment bullying and terrifying the Jewish New Yorkers. Okay, I don't even know how he did it. Maybe it's the fast and free buses. Why do you want fast and free buses, Zoran? So you can hop on a fast and free bus to go downtown from uptown in a moment's notice so you can maximize on your Jew hatred? That's right. That's exactly what he wants to do, which is why I'm opposing the Zoran agenda. Okay? Clearly, he was up in Colombia bullying Jewish students outside of Chabad, okay? Outside of the Hillel, and then getting on a bus, going downtown, and bullying Jewish guys that he suspected of being Jewish, walking outside of a Wall Street firm. Sometimes he would even do anti-Semitic stuff to non-Jews, thinking that they were Jews. He was doing all types of anti-Semitic bullying all around town, a real menace.
we have your back. And we will hold Mamdani,
the Mama Duck,
elect Mamdani, accountable. Look.
Yeah, he calls it like, he literally, oh God, he's such a fucking clown ass dude. I swear to God. Peter Beinart, this is a key point. It's precisely because Mamdani is not authoritarian and doesn't think, thank goodness, threaten his critics with retaliation. That's why the ADL focuses more on him than Trump. They fear Trump in a way that they don't actually fear Mamdani. No, that's not the reason. Peter Beinart is wrong about this. No. The reason why the ADL doesn't go after Donald Trump is because the ADL is a pro-Israel institution. That's it. That's it. And Donald Trump is the biggest dick rider of Israel. What the fuck? No, the reason why he's going after Zoran Mamdani is because Zoran Mamdani ran and won on a campaign in New York City without compromising on anti-Zionism and straight up saying that he was an anti-Zionist. That is unacceptable. That must be punished. Okay? That's it. Peter is fundamentally wrong. The ADL doesn't focus on Trump because Trump is pro-Israel and gives Israel what they want. Exactly. Mamdani is a supporter of BDS and makes existential criticism of Israel. The ADL is pro-Israel lobbying org, thus is attacking Mamdani and not Trump. The ADL doesn't fear Trump. They simply agree with him, but they have to maintain the pretense of being a civil rights organization concerned with anti-Semitism. So they do so through omission and selective outrage.
It's about politics. This morning we launched a tip line at adl.org NYC. So if you are Jewish and you experience anti-Semitism where you work or where you worship or where you live, we want to know so we can track it. Well, and look.
Pay attention to the blue pin. That's the new yellow pin. Evangel's wearing it. No, that's just stand with us. That's the stand with us pin. The yellow one is like, don't forget our hostages pin. And the blue pin has been the stand with us pin. right? Isn't it? Normally I'd be like, people are going to spam call this tip line with like fake allegations just to fuck with the ADL. Except I feel like Jonathan Greenblatt would literally use that to be like, see, anti-Semitism, it turns out, exploded in New York by 10 million %. They're going to take every fucking very clearly fake call that they fielded as like a super serious act of anti-Semitism.
There has been anti-Semitism in New York that we've talked about time and time again. Yeah. This isn't something new because he got elected last night. Will you work with him? Will you sit and talk to him? Will you have him be a part of this process?
He has said publicly that he will not work with the ADL and Jonathan Greenblatt. He said that, not me. Look, we're an
yeah, because you suck. I don't know why he thinks he's literally the Pope of Jewish people or something. Like he just straight up thinks, bro, there are Zionists that don't even fuck with Jonathan Greenblatt, okay? What are we talking about? Like, he's not as bad as like Rabbi Shmuley, but there are, I mean, dude, you know who doesn't fuck with Jonathan Greenblatt? The former president of the ADL, okay? The former president of the ADL thinks Jonathan Greenblatt is doing a horrible job. So, like, what are we talking about? You think the former president of ADL doesn't care about Israel or doesn't care about anti-Semitism? No, he thinks, you know, you went a little heavy-handed and you actually destroyed what remained of like the reputation that the ADL must maintain if they want to at least get taken seriously and not be seen as like another vehicle for pro-Israel propaganda.
Institution. This organization was founded in 1913. We work with mayors and governors and presidents irrespective.
And why has he said he won't work with you?
You have to ask him. But at the end of the day, yesterday, the Jewish community, Joe, the UJA and the ADL and the American Jewish Committee released a joint statement. And we are concerned because Jewish New Yorkers are alarmed. And what I can tell you is I look right at the camera. If you are a Jewish New Yorker, we have your back. We launched the Mamdani monitor this morning. We are simply going.
I think I've said this so many times, but I think one of the key things that Jonathan Greenblatt doesn't understand is that this is part of the reason why people hate Israel. Like, Americans are fairly selfish people, okay? They're selfish people. They don't give a shit that, like, brown people are dying overseas. This is the country that did the illegal occupation and invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan. And it is because Israel is so flagrantly, so openly demanding fealty at every step and consistently annoying Americans that Americans are like, yeah, this is a bit much, I think. It's also ironic because the way he does this, the way he's doing this is also making people more anti-Semitic than they already are. Okay? That's the other thing. And when he gets to go on MSNBC and do this, it makes people more anti-Semitic. They're like, why the fuck is this guy, who died and made this guy the anti-Semitism police? And also, at a time, like if you're like a black American, right? You look at this and you're like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like you're looking at this and you're going like, okay, there's a lot of fucking bigotry in the country, sir. I don't know if you've realized what's going on. Okay. Why is this supposed to be like a higher priority? If you're a brown American, you feel the same. If you're Muslim, you already know he's a racist piece of shit. So I'm not even getting there, right? So like, it just annoys people. It really makes, like, I don't know why the pro-Israel route has been for far too long, I guess, to be the most annoying person you have ever encountered. The most entitled and annoying person you've ever encountered. Like, this is our strategy. This is my media strategy, okay? I am going to be a fucking nuisance, and I am going to demand you get fired. That is my job. I'm going to demand you get fired. Like, even if people don't give a fuck about Israel, at that point, people go, all right, yeah, maybe, you know, before I didn't really care that much, but now I do care. Now you made it something that is pissing me off. Okay? No one likes HR, bro. Yeah, but this is like beyond HR.
Track, again, not what he says in a single speech, but what he does. And at the end of the day, my goodness, I hope he is incredibly successful at fighting anti-Semitism. I hope he undertakes steps to keep Jewish New Yorkers safe.
Right.
But it is my job to make sure that every Jewish New Yorker isn't living in fear.
That's what I want you to do. At the same time, you obviously, you want to judge him by what he's saying now, right? And what he does moving forward, not a tweet in 2022 or 2023, right?
So we will judge him on the people he appoints, on the policies he implements, and on the programs that he launches. I want to know, what's he doing in the education system? Will it be fact-based or politicized for our kids?
Right.
I want to know,
Dude, you are obsessed, brother. You are fucking obsessed. He's like, is he teaching 2 + 2 = 4? Or is he teaching people how to be anti-Semitic? Everything is like what the fuck? He literally is just like every issue somehow ties back to like being pro-Israel. We must have compulsory pro-Israel education, please. And if you don't do that, it is the most heinous hate crime you've ever done to me. Looks like a huge scandal developing inside of Wikipedia, with top dog Jim Wales swooping in to edit the Gaza genocide article and some others, buckling to pressure from the ADL in Israel. What? But a big from above statement in the voice of Jimbo Wales, speaking from the heavens to declare what must happen, is not how Wikipedia works. The previous RFC was heavily attended. Examine a massive range of sources. Wait, what? No, the Wikipedia actually said fuck the ADL. Wikipedia co-founder joins editing conflict over the Gaza genocide page. Oh my God.
houses of worship and
At what point are you going to see Israel are stoking anti-Semitism purposely? No, I've said that already. I think it's beneficial for Israel's like ethno-state interests to foment anti-Semitism in the West, so that, you know, Jews feel unsafe, and then they're like, oh, what's the only place where we can feel safe? Oh, it's of course Israel, right? But I don't think it's true. It does correspond to the interests of the state, but American Jews, no matter how fucking pro-Israel they are, still don't want to live in an environment where they literally are being harmed, okay? No one wants to live in an environment where they're like, oh shit, if I go to the synagogue, is someone going to fucking do a mass stabbing? Like, no one wants to be in a dangerous environment like that. So my point is always that guys like Jonathan Greenblatt are unironically creating a more anti-Semitic environment. Like, that's what they keep doing by behaving like this, by constantly tying Israel to Judaism, which many American Jews also do, for sure. But like, it's not, this is dangerous. It is also a self-defeating thing. Like, if you're just constantly leaning into anti-Semitism or constantly creating more anti-Semites by doing this shit, it is eventually going to become unlivable. And also, what do you think could happen in the future? In the long run, you're going to have a bunch of fucking anti-Semites that are not, I mean, that are going to be much more open-minded to cutting ties with Israel, cutting associations with Israel.
JCCs continue to be protected because they're under threat. I want to know, is he going to change the purchasing policies because of his ideological commitment to BDS, potentially hurting the pocketbooks of New Yorkers? Look, he won yesterday, and I saw the previous segment. Amazing numbers. People care about affordability in this city, and I get that. But as an organization that's seen levels of anti-Jewish hate that literally have broken records every year, my job is to keep them safe, and we won't stop.
So I pushed him yesterday on BDS.
Yes.
He's espoused that policy for a long time. Will he bring it into the to the mayor's mansion? And he effectively said yes, a version of it. He makes a distinction, as many people do, between Jews in New York and the state of Israel. What he's saying is, I take my brothers and sisters.
Like, here's what you didn't have to do. Give this guy a fucking platform, okay? Because, like, when you give him a platform and then you push back like this, it's not serving the purpose you wanted to serve. Stop bringing his bitch ass on, please. Like, what are we doing? Like, I'm glad that even Morning Joe, which is probably the most unlikely group that is turning around and being like, dude, come on, okay? But it's crazy that, like, he even gets a platform at all. No, what I mean is, like, it's kind of like I just keep going back to this Ben Dreyfuss tweet, who was like, guys, I'm literally pro-Israel. I am a Zionist Jew. And you finally made me pro-Zohran Mamdani because of how insane you have gotten. You know what I mean? Like, that's what the ADL is doing over here. Like, that's what they're doing to fucking Joe Scarborough. Like, I never in my life would have thought Joe Scarborough would be like, all right, dude, no, Zohran Mamdani's not a fucking vicious, dangerous anti-Semite. He's the next mayor of New York. You need to fucking calm down.
Jewish New Yorkers.
Yep.
Separate from the policies of the state of Israel. BDS, he says, is meant to punish the state of Israel.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that distinction?
Well, look, there's lots of room to criticize policies of the state of Israel.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. You don't know. First of all, excuse me. I hate this argument. You want to know why I hate this argument? Because why do you get to decide? Like, why do you get to decide? Like, who put you in charge of this? Guys, look, there's lots of ways to criticize Saudi Arabia, okay? But if you do criticize Saudi Arabia, you're Islamophobic. It is, after all, where Mecca and Medina is. These are two of the holiest places in Islam. Obviously, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was there. You know, he traveled from Medina to Mecca. And this is profoundly important for us. So if you actually were to say, hey, Saudi Arabia is pretty crazy that you're like, you know, participating in a genocide or mass starvation in the region, it's like, that's Islamophobic. You are not allowed to do that. Of course, you can criticize Saudi Arabia. It's just, I get to dictate whether or not that is appropriate or not. It's like, well, shut the fuck up then.
What I worry about, what New Yorkers worry about, is when the guy gets assaulted for wearing a yarmulke and they hit him in the head and yell at him as a Zionist. Or when the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania is burned down by someone who claims Josh Shapiro has a policy on Palestine, which he does.
That's so disingenuous. That dude was literally experiencing a schizophrenic attack. He thought Josh Shapiro had kidnapped his daughters, brother. The Shapiro thing is so fucking nutty. The dude was literally a diagnosed schizophrenic person having a mental health episode. First anecdote he gives, I have no idea what he's talking about, so I can't speak on it, okay? Second anecdote is actually a famous incident, and he's just misrepresenting it. He's just straight up fucking misrepresenting it, being like, oh, well, this is happening because it was an act of vengeance from a pro-Palestinian person or whatever the fuck. It's like, well, you're giving the game away a little bit, Chief.
Or when two young Jewish people are shot and killed outside the Jewish Museum by someone who yells Free Palestine. Or when an elderly person is firebombed in Boulder, Colorado. Like an 80-year-old woman, by someone angry about Gaza.
We're all shocked, and we all find this abhorrent, and I'm sure that the next mayor would say the same thing, wouldn't he?
You have to ask him.
Well, I think he has said the same thing. I don't know. I think you have to. I think you look at the fact that he has gone to one holiday service after another. He has talked to the Jewish community.
That's not exactly right. He went to an anti-Zionist synagogue, which is like going to the black breakout at CPAC and saying you understand Africa.
There it is. He's just, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It might be because I'm Muslim, so like, for me, I just can't comprehend how someone could have the audacity. This is the equivalent of CARE coming out and being like, if you criticize ISIS, you are Islamophobic. Okay? Oh, you went to a progressive Muslim mosque. That doesn't mean anything. You need to go to an ISIS-style mosque. You need to go to like a Salafist mosque with a Salafist imam who is in agreement with my opinions that ISIS is good. Like, that's literally what it sounds like. Because to Americans at this stage, like, and I don't think Jonathan Greenblatt or still many Jewish Zionists, I don't think understand this, but to most Americans, they are literally looking at Israel like it's a violent force. The notion that Israel is this like beautiful, shining, glorious place in the middle of the desert that is progressive is gone. It's done. People know the truth now.
Americans. I mean, come on.
You're saying he hasn't talked to the Jewish community?
I don't know of a mainstream. Now, look, he has been to synagogues.
Look at Mika's face, by the way. That is so funny. She's been making that face the entire time, by the way. She's literally like, anytime the camera's on her, she's like, what the fuck are you saying?
One high holiday service after another.
Look at her face. Bro's gonna make a poll, go factory default mode. Yeah. She got her ancestors screaming in there, dude. Yeah. Greenblatt's playing dumb shtick. Paints him as a feckless, doddering fool or an intentionally disingenuous piece of shit, knowingly lying. Google exists.
He is taught to the Jewish community.
That's not exactly right. He went to an anti-Zionist synagogue, which is like going to the black breakout at CPAC and saying you understand African Americans. I mean, come on.
You're saying he hasn't talked to the Jewish community?
I don't know of a mainstream. Now, look, he has been to synagogues. He has Jewish people working for him for sure.
Right.
But if you look at.
But they're fake Jews, which we also should jail for anti-Semitism. Okay? Come on. Come on, Joe. I'm putting it down, but you're not picking it up. Those are not real Jews. Those are fake Jews because they disagree with me. If you disagree with me, you are not a real Jew. I am the only one who gets to determine who's Jewish and who's not Jewish. And if I determine that you are not Jewish, that means you are automatically anti-Semitic. Here, let's play a game. Donald Trump, real Jew. Okay? Donald Trump, real Jew. Jewish Voice for Peace, fake Jew. If you're a real Jew, you don't go to prison. If you're a fake Jew, you go to prison. That's how it works. This is the design, okay? Like, what the fuck is this argument? Like, what an insane thing to say. This is a civil rights organization, okay? The ADL bills itself as a civil rights organization. It's like the Klan billing itself as a civil rights organization. Because guess what? Zionism is an ethno-religious supremacist ideology, just like what the Klan believes. It is literally Jewish supremacist as opposed to white supremacist. And that is the reason why it's this insane thing that you see on television that virtually no other fucking group gets to do while maintaining the position of progressivism. Okay, that's it. That's it. I'll give you one example. Okay. America's a white supremacist country, and anti-blackness is foundational. And therefore, there are a lot of, black advocacy networks that sometimes have reactionary tendencies, right? Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, and the like. Louis Farrakhan is not seen as a progressive beacon. He doesn't get to go on MSNBC, And even then, I wouldn't even say that he has like the same, like this not even, it's not even a comparable thing, because like one is basically an ideology that is like born out of existing systematic discrimination, versus the other one is a defense of an existing ethno-state and ethno-supremacist values. So it's not even a fucking comparable. It's not even an adequate comparison, and even then, it doesn't happen, right? Like you don't get this kind of freedom in mainstream outlets to run around. Like you said, Dr. Umar. It'd be like Dr. Umar being a panelist, but again, it's not like Dr. Umar is defending an institution that is currently doing genocide, right? Like. So it's even then, it's not even a comparison. And yet still, Dr. Umar is never going to be brought on to MSNBC. Again, I'm not making even a comparison between Dr. Umar and what he believes in, like what Jonathan Greenblatt is doing. Because like the closest equivalence that you can actually arrive at is the Klan. Because in Israel is the dominant force. Like Judaism is the dominant religion in Israel. Jews are the upper strata of Israeli society. They are the in-group. Black people have never been the domineering force in American politics, where they like enslaved white people. Like that has never happened. So it's not even a fucking one-to-one comparison.
the biggest institutions that represent Jewish New Yorkers.
Oh, also he's anti-miscegenation. That's the other thing. Before I forget.
I have yet to see him engage with any of those. Now, my hope is the mayor-elect will do so in the days and weeks to come. But in the meantime,
but you're not suggesting that he supports the firebombing in Colorado.
Never, never said
You're not suggesting that he supports the firebombing.
I never said that.
No.
Conflating anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism aside, you still have to acknowledge that the people of Israel are Jewish, and criticism of the Israeli people or character of Israelis, aside from the actions of the government, is still kind of racism. Wait, what? Yeah, it's also the same as doing it to white people. Okay? What are we doing? This is like basic shit. It's like saying, oh, white people can't dance. Okay? Yes, in a white supremacist country, making fun of white people, the dominant in-group on the virtues of whiteness, is not going to hit the same as all of the victims of white supremacy and making fun of them. One is reasserting the racial pecking order. The other one is actually just making jokes. Jokes that are not associated with any sort of historic pattern of violence that white people have received on the basis of whiteness. And the same goes for Israel. Yeah, when you say, oh, like something is Israeli coded or something is Israel coded, yeah, you're making fun of an entire fucking country of people, okay? Like, I understand that, but it's not like you're making fun of a historically dominated, or at least in contemporary society, dominated group of people and reasserting the racial pecking order. I've talked about this quite a bit. A lot of people would say, Hasan, you speak about anti-Semitism, you are doing Jewish exceptionalism. It's like, no, bigotry is bigotry, right? Jews are a small percentage of the American society, but by and large, they are not systematically discriminated against in the way that black people are or in the way that brown people are, because anti-Semitism is not a permissible form of bigotry, or institutionally permissible form of bigotry, rather. So while Jews can be victim to anti-Semitic hate crimes, of course, and it does happen, like, you know, going and spraying a swastika outside of a synagogue is an anti-Semitic hate crime, and it reminds Jews of historic violence that they have experienced. When we're talking about Israel, it's an entirely different thing. One of the examples I always use is the Star of David, right? If you were to spray paint the Star of David outside of a Jewish person's house in the Western world, that might be perceived as a threat. Understandable. You might be telling other people, like, there's a Jew that lives here, right? That's anti-Semitic. Except in Israel, when someone spray paints the Star of David outside of a house, that's a threat that is not anti-Semitic. That's a threat that Jewish settlers are going to come and firebomb your house. Okay? It's because Jews in Israel are the in-group. Because Israel is a Jewish ethno-state, a Jewish supremacist ethno-state, with an exterminationist ideology, with an exterminationist fascist ideology. That's precisely the reason why these are not replicable for American Jews. As a matter of fact, one of the funniest examples of this is fucking SNL. Israeli SNL, right? Like, when you look at shitty techno music or shitty art that has this fascist polish on it, and you say, this is so Israel coded, could you actually say this is so Jewish coded? Are Jews in the Western world notorious for making dog shit art? Don't you think it's the exact opposite? If anything, it heightens that contradiction. It heightens that separation. Yeah, of course. But that is what the sensitivity attached to it feels like anti-Semitism. It's easy to feel like attacks against Israelis is still anti-Semitism. I definitely agree that the actions of the state of Israel are egregious. So for the people that are crying anti-Semitism about the criticism of Israel still experiencing the effects of that conflation, also chill, chat, I'm with you. I'm just contextualizing. Yeah, but it's wrong. And not only is it wrong, but it also needs to be severed. I also always stress the importance that, like, because sometimes people will be like, well, what if every Jew was pro-Israel? Yeah, I'd still be on fuck Israel o'clock. You know what I mean? Like, there is no, like, that doesn't change anything for me. You know? Because there are some people out there who go like, well, a significant number of Jews are pro-Israel. So if you're shitting on Israel, you're shitting on those Jews. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm shitting on those Jews for being pro-Israel in that situation. I'm shitting on anyone for being pro-Israel. I don't give a fuck. I'm anti-Israel. It has nothing to do with your own background. You chose to be pro-Israel, and you're a little fake too also on top of that, right? Because it's not like you're living there. Maybe you got some family there, which means it's even easier for you to go and live there, but you don't fucking want to. Because guess what? You're fucking American, okay? Suck my dick. You're an American. You're an American Jew. You're not fucking Israeli. You don't live in Israel. You don't want to live in Israel. You literally, I know how you talk about Israel, about your Israeli relatives in private when you're around other Jews also living in America. I know how you talk about Israel, but then when it's talking to the out group, all of a sudden it's like, oh, what do you mean? Israel is the most important thing. Okay, bitch, you don't live there. Why? Why do you live in Boca Raton? Why do you live in Sherman Oaks? Why do you live in Beverly Hills? Why don't you live in fucking Israel? Because you don't want to live there because you're fucking American. Cut it with this stupid ass bullshit. You have an unlimited amount of incentives to go live in Israel. Why the fuck do you live in America? I know why. Because you're fucking American. You're not Israeli. You're an American Jew. This sort of goes to the crux of the issue, much like the Jews can't wear the Star of David in public in America anymore conversation. No acknowledgement of what Star of David has come to represent in modern times and how it's been extricated from its religious foundation by those claiming to protect Jews. Israel is why people feel unsafe wearing a Star of David in America in 2025. Exactly. And like, that's the thing. Like, I don't make this conflation. Like, I don't automatically assume when I see a Jewish person, I don't immediately assume like, oh, this person's going to be fucking pro-Israel. They're going to hate me or whatever. Like, I don't do that. But the reality of the matter is, I don't think that's the norm anymore, unfortunately. I don't think it's appropriate. And I will always push back on that shit. And I will continue to push back on that shit in this community. But the reality of the matter is, as time goes on, and as Jonathan Greenblatt keeps doing shit like this, more and more Americans do unironically go, oh, okay, what's going on? You like what your people are doing over there? Like that's the attitude. Americans are like they're not invested in like nuanced thinking. Okay, they're not. Is this similar to the Go Live in China crowd response to people supporting certain policies? No, it's not the same. You want to know why it's not the same? Because once again, Israel wants all Jews to live in Israel. Okay? Israel is an ethno-state. Israel wants all of the Jews to go live there. Israel has incentivized Jews to go and live in Israel. And American Jews are like, no, I'm American. I have my roots here. And then they are fake. They're phony. And they just act like they're, super invested in Israel. Okay? I'm not saying if you love Israel, go live in Israel. First of all, I don't want, Israel to accomplish its demographic goals anyway. Okay? That's why I always stress the importance that the greatest threat to Israel is not Hamas, is not the Palestinians existing, it's Sherman Oaks. Okay? That's a far greater threat because, as long as Jewish people can, freely come and live in the Western world, then why the fuck would they live in Israel? In a constant state of panic. What do you mean they're American? They're afraid of their Israeli family or they don't really believe in Israel, just need the clarification? No. They believe the fucking social conditioning of Zionism being like a connective tissue for American Jews. Okay? But the ultimate goal of Zionism is to make sure that all the Jews live in Israel. Okay? And they're not all of the incentives that the Israeli government offers to American Jews to go live in Israel. For example, free healthcare. What happened at Kaya? My friend, I'm in Washington, D.C. She's back home.
There's a lot of blurring and blending here, Jonathan. And I love you, and you're on all the time, and I'm always a fierce defender of yours. But you seem to be blurring a lot of things together, and then looking into that camera.
Look at this! God damn, he's cooking.
Hey, call us. We're going to make sure that he doesn't support the.
I say to Jewish New Yorkers, call us if you feel unsafe.
Okay.
I say to Jewish New Yorkers, call us if you are harassed. And so let me clarify.
How about you calling his team, Mamdani's team? Or how about talking to people who may know him and you?
Let's see if that happens.
Reverend Al. Talk to Reverend Al. Maybe you guys can get together and have lunch and talk. Isn't that a more constructive thing to do?
Talk right here. That would be great.
Reverend Al will do it. Come here, talk right here.
But I won't be, I am willing to have conversations, hard conversations.
Right.
because my job is to keep the community safe. But let me be clear, I'm not accusing him of those things. What I want to make sure is he doesn't create an environment where Jewish people are unsafe. He doesn't create an environment where globalized intifada becomes a mantra.
And if he does, we will be the first, as you know, right?
I do.
We'll be the first to call him out. Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, we should also note, polling last week, Quinnipiac poll said he had the support of about a third of Jewish New Yorkers, and that many had said that it was about policies of the state of Israel. That is why they resonate, because they were upset with what they saw in Gaza as well. So that was Joe sort of anticipated what I was going to say here, is that why not use this moment is just a chance to have an olive branch, to shake a hand, to have a conversation with him and his team.
Look, we criticize.
Yeah, this is racist as fuck, bro. No. Brother, it's like telling a black man to shake hands with a Klansman. What are we doing? Like, Jonathan Greenblatt's, the reason why even a guy like Joe Scarborough is pushing back here, even though as a media trained guy, as like an old school Republican, right? I would never in a million years have imagined that Joe Scarborough would be pushing back against like the anti-Semitism czar on his own fucking TV show. But the reason why he's doing that is because Jonathan Greenblatt is so fucking unhinged that like even someone like Joe Scarborough, who I suspect is not the biggest fan of Muslims in general, is looking at the situation and being like, hey man, I think you're kind of racist. Because that's what this is. A lot of the fears of anti-Semitism coming from Zohran Mamdani is just racism. It's racist hysteria. And it's so fucking annoying to just sit here and act like he is the civil rights hero over here. Like, he's just a fucking racist asshole. And at some point, we just have to be like, dude, I'm sorry, but you have to deal with that, okay? That's a you problem, right? And this is no different than like a Klansman or a white identitarian going on television like Richard Spencer used to and talking about like how America needs to be a white Christian nation and that unfortunately miscegenation is a big threat to that agenda, right? Or saying that black people encroaching on our spaces is a big threat to the white Christian family structure that we want to design in this country. When someone says that, right, you immediately know that's just fucking racist. You're like, no, you're insane. You're an unserious person. Fuck you, suck my dick. That's un-American, right? But Jonathan Greenblatt can cynically utilize the marginalization status of Jews due to historic patterns of violence, anti-Semitic violence, so cynically to present himself as someone who is defending the safety of Jews while simultaneously just being fucking racist. Like, it's crazy. What do you mean? He's like this guy who has done nothing anti-Semitic, not even a little bit, is actually a very scary anti-Semite. And look at all these Jews that are actually so scared of him. It's like, yeah, they are. And I want to believe that they're cynically saying that. But if they're sincerely saying that, that's because they're fucking racist, brother. That's it. If you look at a guy who is Muslim, ooh, scary, who has done nothing anti-Semitic whatsoever, and has at most criticized Israel, okay, a racist apartheid ethno-state doing a genocide, and you say his position of power scares me as a Jew, then you're just fucking racist. What am I supposed to do with that? He can't stop being Muslim, and I don't think he should stop being an anti-Zionist. So what the fuck's the conversation? You just want him to bend the fucking knee. You want to get your rocks off and feel a sense of self-importance. I think it's ridiculous. The very fact that he's like, oh, I'm demanding a meeting with you. It's like, it's no different than fucking Bill Smokes Crackman demanding a meeting with Zohran Mamdani. Who the fuck are you? Suck my dick.
Candidate Trump, and we have to work with the Trump administration. We've criticized candidate Mamdani, and we will have to work with him as the mayor. That's what we do at ADL. We don't play for the red team or the blue team. We're the umpire who calls balls and strikes.
What do you want him to do?
Good question. I would like to see the mayor elect.
Yeah, that is a good question. I would like for him to no longer be Muslim. I would like for him to no longer scare me. And why does he scare me? Because he's Muslim and he's anti-Israel. So one or the other has got to go. If not both. If both, then that's the best option.
Live up to what he said last night in terms of being there for every Jewish New Yorker. So what does that mean? Confirm there will be no extremists in his administration. Confirm that he will not bring politics into the education system for our K through 12 kids. I want to make sure that the people...
I really hope there's extremists in his administration. Yeah. Yeah. Because from his perspective, he means like, remember, he doesn't mean Nick Fuentes, okay? He means people like myself.